This is your place for all things Grand Rapids Griffins and all things Toledo Walleye. This is the Hockeytown West podcast with your hosts, Brandon Cook, Nick Harrington, and Travis Foch.
Well, the Griffins closed out 2025 by losing a game in overtime, which sucks. You know, we don't talk about losses very often with this team this year. But still, currently, as we're recording this today on January 5th, 2026, the team is 28-1-1-1. They just got rid of the O in the overtime loss column to make it a little easier for me to say every episode. Holy crap, the team is still on a tear. Welcome back to the Hockeytown West podcast, everybody. Your source for everything Grand Rapids Griffins and Toledo Walleye hockey. We have three fantastic Griffins games to talk about. One that was last year and two that have happened in the new year so far. But before we jump into that, let's check in with the boys. Nick, how are you doing so far in 2026?
Overwhelmed.
What's new?
It's good. I'm hoping for new start, right? New beginnings. Looking forward to a better year, right? I thought it was going to be last year. Scrap it. So hopefully we could start this year, Griffins-wise, the way we ended last year, Griffins. You know, we don't have a tale of two tapes like we did last year. Hoping.
No, I mean, yeah, going into the new year last year, we were already kind of on that slide, that rough time of year for the Griffins last year after the hot start they had. So it's good to see us not at that point and then entering the year on a high note there. I'd asked Trav how he's doing this new year, but I asked him already because we recorded the Toledo show already. That'll be out later this week. As always, the first episode of the week is a Griffins episode. The second episode is a Toledo episode. So I won't ask Travis today how he's doing because I already know, and you guys will find out on Thursday. And I will say, if you're new here, listening to the show for the first time, welcome. If you could, wherever you're listening, hit follow, or if you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe, hit the like button, leave us a comment on how you're feeling heading into the new year about these Grand Rapids Griffins, and make sure you stay tuned for all the upcoming episodes. And if you haven't yet as well, check out Patreon, where we do a bunch of bonus stuff. There's a good 10 minutes of this episode that won't make the actual cut, but it goes to Patreon, unedited episodes and bonus content. Everything goes over there at patreon.com/HockeytownWest So feel free to check that out. Let's hop into some news and updates around the Grand Rapids Griffins before we dive into the three games we have to talk about. And the first piece of news is that Sebastian Cossa, NHL Goalie of the Month, back-to-back months, first goalie in franchise history to earn the award twice in the season, let alone go back-to-back. Unreal, right?
Absolutely unreal. I think it was a tie. From what I heard with the AHL, that it was actually somebody else was right there with him. And he was able to pull away with that assist in that game. So it really knocked him up a little bit.
Here he goes.
To be able to
That's
get
not
that
an
award.
official fact. I must clarify for everybody listening. Nick just loves goalie assists.
Yeah. Leading there, leading the goals against, leading in save percentage as well. I mean, what else can you ask for the guy? I'm not tired of seeing him behind those in that post, but we're in between the posts. I'm not tired of seeing him between the posts. But I'm tired of talking about him because we talk about him every week. The fantastic start that he's on, how dialed in he is, how he's playing so well this year, how he needs a chance in Detroit. And it's funny as we talked about this in the group chat. Is last year it was like everybody wanted him up. This year everybody wants him to stay down here. It's like you can't make anybody happy with this. So
It's funny how the tables turned on that, right?
It's very weird. I don't understand Wings fans, I guess. Maybe I'm out of touch.
Nobody ever does and nobody ever will, but we love them nonetheless. But yeah, last year was all call him up. And now we present he should be there. And you look at the comments on the reels you'll post from those parts of the episode, and boy, do we get shredded for it. And it's we just take it. It is what it is. Cossa does deserve time in the NHL. We understand that there's two goalies in the way of that right now in Detroit, but dude, you got to get him time up there. He's obviously just doing incredible things. We're going to talk about him a lot throughout this episode. It's kind of turning into like the Toledo show where we talk about Hawk all the time. It's turning into we're talking about Cossa all the time, but rightfully so for both players, right? They both are performing at the top of their level when it comes to their performance right now. Other piece of news, John Leonard called back up to Detroit. We're going to talk about him in a couple of these games. Obviously, he was reassigned back to Grand Rapids, but then recalled to Detroit. And as we saw the lineup come out for the Red Wings game tonight, We're talking first line NHL, John Leonard. Todd McClellan made a huge shakeup in the lineup. And look, is that a permanent thing? Who knows? But at the same time, from our perspective, covering these guys in the American League, seeing a guy get called back up, a guy of his age especially, and get top line minutes, it's so cool for the guy, right?
It's incredible. I mean, he played well when he was up there with Detroit. He got a long look, and then he comes down here and he's still creating chances, creating opportunities, getting on the score sheet. I mean, I talked with him after the game on Wednesday. They took the loss very hard. You couldn't really get much out of him. I wanted to talk to him about Detroit, but obviously time and place for everything, and that just wasn't the right time, and he wasn't really feeling it. But happy to see him there, back up with Detroit, and hopefully he gets on the stat sheet tonight. Who's sitting for him tonight? Is it
Nate Danielson is sitting tonight. Interesting updates there. I mean, we're not a Red Wings show. I'm going to be honest. I've watched a handful of games this season, so I can't analyze Nate's play in Detroit and justify the reasoning behind it. But clearly, Todd is trying to do something to get the boys going again. And as of recording this right now, they're up 3-0 on Ottawa with this shooken up lineup as they started off looking really rough in the first few minutes there I was watching. And after the challenge on the offsides for Ottawa that negated their goal, they just went and kind of run away with it since then. So, it takes time to adjust. You do a couple practices with new line mates, and yeah, sure, you practice, but once you get in the in-game play, it's all different. So it took a couple minutes to get going.
Travis, how do you feel about John Leonard?
I mean, I'm glad that they're giving him an opportunity in the role that he's flourished in with Grand Rapids, not burying him on the fourth line. I think
I do love that play.
Yeah, it's just like it seems like a common sense thing. Like, why take a guy out of his comfort zone in the role that he's playing and hope that he can provide you some offense lower in the lineup when that's what he's kind of not struggled to do, but he's not asked to do that in GR. Why would you ask him to do that in Detroit, right? So, and it all goes back to his first call up when Todd's like, sometimes we call these guys up and they get buried and it's tough. Like, you got to put them in the situations that they've thrived in before. So, I was surprised with how well it went for him, to be honest, the first go around. I didn't know how or what to expect, maybe. I figured he'd be okay, but maybe not quite as good as he was. But we'll see what happens. They got a couple more games to figure out what they're going to do here.
Yeah, before waivers get interesting.
I'm glad that they did the shuffle with the lines today, because the talk the last week was moving Marco up, but not sacrificing Finney to a demotion. So to be able to just shuffle everybody is like, hey, this is what we're going to do. And I see Finney on the fourth line. You see Marco on second, I believe.
First.
So maybe something can generate, and it's Todd's way of kind of playing around. And hey, everybody got shuffled. It's not just Marco.
Yeah, it's one of those things you have to do sometimes, and I'm all for it. And depends on how long and how permanent it is, and how what the results are like during that time. And as long as you don't do this at the beginning of the game and pull the old Ben Simon and turn the blender on and then shuffle them all back to where they were midway through the game, if you're going to commit to something like this, you stick with it and you kind of learn from it. And I mean, so far, we'll take a 3-0 lead and we'll take those results, right? But it's good for Lenny. I'm so happy for him. And there was so many comments on your post game when you shared it that night where everyone's like, he looks so defeated. He looks, well, one, they just lost, settle down. And two, no offense to John Leonard, his energy in post game is the same every single time you talk to him. It's just the type of guy he is. Not every player loves to jump in front of a camera after playing a full hockey game and give you energy and talk about how exciting it is to do these things. It's just not how it goes. And that's okay. He's not depressed. He's not sad he got sent down. Of course, every guy wants to be in the National League, right? But at the same time, he's very happy here. And as we'll talk about in this game, even celebrating with high fives to the glass to the fans. So Lenny's okay. Chill out. Other news and updates around the team, of course, injury updates. Nolan Moyle added to the injury list. He's day-to-day. That one was unfortunate to see. Don't know what the deal is there, and they say it's just day-to-day per Bob Kaiser on the broadcast, so that's what we'll go with for now. Amadeus Lombardi is still skating. No timetable on his return. Yeah, every single time Bob talks about that, he says he'll be back before Mazer. And then Shai Buyam, not mentioned this weekend in the injury updates. We haven't asked Coach because we'll get the same answers every single time. So we're just not going to bother with it. When he comes back, he'll come back, or when we can get to practice, maybe hopefully this weekend, we'll see if we see him out there.
I got one thing with the whole day-to-day thing with these guys. They say day-to-day, and then it is week to week. Just say week to week, please. because you're getting people's hopes up that guys are close and they're really not. Like, that's clearly like.
It's funny you say that, Trav, because I saw a TikTok the other day. I don't know if I sent it to you or not. And it was like this guy breaking down the difference between the NFL and the NHL. And it was like talking about injuries. He's like, yeah, he's broken his elbow and dislocated his index finger. And, he'll be back in this time frame. And then it's like someone asking a coach in the NHL. He's like, why do you want to know that? What are you asking about? What? Who told you that? That's like dead on exactly how it is. Like in hockey, just don't get specific injury updates, and that's understandable and it's fine. It's a sport where certain injuries can be targeted, and it gives your opposing team an advantage. So you don't talk about it.
Next time somebody asks me how I'm doing, I'm just gonna say day to day. That's
there you go. I'll remember that for the next episode we record, and I ask you that. That's going to be your response.
I'll chime in with realistically, he's week to week.
He's more month to month. Let's be real. Anyways, instead of digging on Nick here, last piece of news that as we headed into the game on New Year's Eve against Milwaukee, I noticed listening to the broadcast as Nick was at this game, I was at home for this one. Larry Figursky back in the broadcast booth after dealing with some health stuff for the last month. Happy to see Larry back in the booth. Hopefully he's feeling good. And I know he was happy to be back watching these Griffins do amazing things, because it was funny because you could tell like he was dealing with some stuff and actually had to step away from hockey, because as the broadcast would go on, he'd be asking Bob a question about like games that they played recently. Like, well, didn't this happen there? Or what did they do here? And it was just kind of fun to hear him catch back up. Him and Bob together are always great in the booth, and it's just really happy to see Larry back in action. So happy for that. Let's dive into the New Year's Eve game, the annual New Year's Eve game with post-game fireworks that the last one scared the crap out of half the people, I think, in the arena, because it was loud. I heard it on the broadcast and was just like, holy smokes. I don't know if you guys heard it in the room down there. My thought was that like you guys had done the post game already and were walking through the tunnel back and just had to hear it right in front of your face. And I pictured it and laughed. But yeah, it's always indoor fireworks. It's cool. It's not my favorite thing, but hey, a lot of people love it.
I think it hit right before we went to interview, literally like right before, and I felt bad because I was like, Elaine, you're going first. Like I always go last, and it went off, and then she was startled. Like I felt bad, and I was like, I guess I could have went first. Like but she was trooper. She made it
happens.
Yeah,
exactly. So let's talk about the game. Milwaukee in town after the Griffins had just shut them out at home on Saturday. We talked about specific members of the Milwaukee Admirals that had frustrating games against the Griffins, and I'll mention Daniel Carr, as we mentioned him last episode, where Sebastian Cossa maybe shut him down 3 or 4 times on breakaways in that game. Well, we knew he would come back with a vengeance. He probably had nightmares about Sebastian Cossa's glove hand all week long, and he scores the first goal of the game to get Milwaukee started in this one. And as I watched the start of this game, you look 4 minutes in, you saw a fight between AKL and England. Like that was kind of expected after how the last game went. You see that first goal, and you kind of have the because the Griffins made a mistake and let Milwaukee on the power play. That's the league's best power play, and after shutting them down back to back opportunities the game before, Milwaukee came prepared to get a goal in this one.
Fortunate, right? I mean, it's best penalty kill versus best power play. And this time the power play ended up working. He was due for one. He had 6 chances the game before against us, and then he had 6 more tonight as well. Nothing that Cossa could do. It was just blow blocker, I believe it was. Ufko, that guy just dominated that game as well. Another kind of Griffin killer for that game. So
not even just a Griffin killer. The guy is an extremely talented player and definitely can pick that team up when they're down just on his own. He's an incredible player. This was another one of those guys on a team that you hate, that you just respect because the way they play the game. And he's definitely one of them. But at least before the end of the first, the Griffins responded. William Volinder gets his first goal of the season. Pretty shot, even prettier play by Andre Becker to get him the puck.
About time, right? We've been wanting our defense.
For real.
Not our defense, but we've been wanting Wally to activate, right? And he picks that spot. It's that left face-off circle. Just picks it, gets it in there. This happened. I wasn't even at the game yet. He had just scored as I was walking in, trying to find parking downtown on New Year's Eve. So, but I was happy. Elaine made sure I knew that he had scored, because that's her pick for Ignite the Nest, and I gave her crap about it. But at least we had somebody on the score sheet. And Wally gets one, and he's been playing really well lately. Good on the defensive end, and now you see a little bit of offense. And I really just want more offense out of him. And
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you want more offense out of the offensive defenseman that he is, right? But the shot was beautiful. We should mention the secondary assist on that goal too went to MBN, and that was his 4th point in 4 nights right there. A little 4-game point streak for him going. So obviously we're talking some positives there. You get to the second period, not much happens. Kind of an even deadlock between the two teams. Another good battle. As we've said, all the games against Milwaukee this season have been a battle. Good battle in the second period. You come out in the third period and 6 or 7 minutes in. I didn't do that on purpose. I promise. I'm sorry. Daniel Carr gets his second of the game. And again, you look at a guy that was just so frustrated after Saturday's shutout, and he comes in and gets the first 2 goals of the game for Milwaukee. And Ufko gets the secondary assist on that. He's got a 2-point game. And you kind of go, this game feels not great. Like, I'm not getting those warm, fuzzy feelings that Griffins games usually give me. And then the 13-minute, 16-second mark on a penalty kill, John Leonard ties the game. Beautiful shot right over the goalie's shoulder. And what's he do in the celebration? High five a fan through the glass. Like, I was like, that whole thing right there is great. I know that highlight's going to make it into our next intro that we create for the show on YouTube here, because it was so well shot and such a good celly. But what a shot by Lenny.
Just picks the corner. I mean, absolutely love it. The celebration was awesome. The fans were crazy. It was a sellout crowd. I think Randy's fun facts was like 10 out of the last 12 New Year's Eve games. It's been a sellout. And at that point you kind of feel like, hey, we're back in it. We're gonna steal this one. Unfortunately, I'll let you get to it.
Yeah, the game goes to overtime. So hey, you've at least kept the point streak alive, right? That's great. You go to overtime. All right, let's keep this win streak going, because we're at 15 heading into this game. Zach LaRue gets the easiest breakaway of his lifetime after Andre Becker gets kind of forced off the puck in the Milwaukee zone, falls down, and LaRue can just go the other way, beats Cossa, and the Griffins lost. That's now 3 separate teams that have beaten the Griffins this year, because those are the only 3 losses they have. So we can't be down about it because the team's only lost 3 dang games. But at the same time, you're like, dang, I forgot what this kind of feels like. I thought about you going into postgame without me there that night, and I'm like, I don't remember what going in after a loss is like. It's weird.
The energy, the air, everything was sucked out. It was bad. To note too is, like, this was LaRue's first game against us. And there's a theme here, and I'll hopefully I can remember it for the Chicago game, but this was his first game against us this season, and he gets the game winner. Calling for the fans afterwards with his celly. I'm just like, and I didn't know he had scored. Like, I didn't know who had scored. I was just like, all right, over, let's move to post game, get down there. Hog tells us, he goes, we've only lost 3 games. Like, it's okay. Like, we still have to be, like, I can't remember what he said, is like, we still are a really good team. Like, we've lost only 3 games. Like, be happy, like, try to bring the energy. And we get into post game, and it was not fun. It was very, they looked like the game wasn't that close, right? They felt like it wasn't, that they played like crap, right? And we know even with wins, they feel like, hey, we didn't do enough. We should have did this or that and played better. But yeah, post game was tough. It was the worst. So
yeah, I mean, like Dog said, we've only lost 3 games, but this team takes those personally. Like, they've said how many times that they go into games expecting to win. Bob had William Vollinder on the broadcast for post game that night. Well, you guys were doing post game as well, and I listened to Wally talk, and I was like, yeah, he said the exact same thing. We come into every game expecting to win now, and it's a weird feeling. Like, you didn't really know how to say what he wanted to say in English. But at the same time, like, it's only the 3rd loss of the season. It's okay.
He was the chattiest out of the 3 that we had, I think, that night. So
I wonder if you got him after Bob. I think Bob might have loosened him up for you.
We had to have. So yeah, it was just, and you're stumped too, because you go down there, you're just stunned of what just happened, and you're like, what do I even ask at this point? Like, guys aren't really,
because it's so out of the norm. Like,
yeah.
It's so weird to be talking about covering a hockey team and be like, yeah, it's weird we lost. Like, that's where we're at now. We're so spoiled. It's not even funny. But I'll take the loss. Like, it happens, right? And Milwaukee is a good team. The standings don't reflect probably their true actually how good they are. And we've said it before, with the Griffins being as good as they are, every team you play is going to come at you with a different intensity level. They're going to bring their absolute best every night because they want to knock off the top dog. Like Bob kept saying on the broadcast, oh, this is going to raise chatter around the league. Well, not really. It's a third loss. Like, it's not really going to make that big of a difference right now. But if you look at the Milwaukee perspective, it's like they won the freaking Calder Cup. Like, you look at their social media and how their fans were reacting, it's just like they just won it all. No, you handed us our third loss in 27 or 28 games at that point. Settle down.
I mean, that's a big win for them, though. You got to factor in, like,
I would give them
anytime
zero credit. I don't have to factor in nothing.
I'm just saying, man, you go in and beat a team that's only lost twice all year.
Yeah, especially when you're 2-7, 0-1 in your past 10.
That's I mean, that can be something that sparks you. So,
well, it didn't. They lost their next 2 games.
Yeah, they were on a 9-game skid coming into this. And then the other part that I found out is that they didn't get into Grand Rapids till 5:30 in the morning that day. Their equipment bus slid into a ditch and caused a delay. So, and Carl Taylor, their head coach, said that Grand Rapids is primed to we're primed to beat them tonight. And I'm just like, really? And like, after all this, all of the obstacles, and then this happens, they get them to overtime, and then Zach scores. It's like, this could be, like Travis said, this could have been a launching point for them, but then they turn around and lose 2 right after. So it's like that, to go through that much struggle, like that's a win for them for the day. I get it. It's also payback from when we crushed them. What was it, 2 years ago, when we crushed their 19-game win streak? Like, that was their like whole, you guys got us 2 years ago. We've now, repaying the favor. It's like, okay, that was 2 years ago.
Wasn't that a point
last
streak?
Season.
That was a point streak versus win streak, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. We had our point streak going, and they had their insane win streak going.
Yeah, I thought so.
And you're right. When you look at all those things and the coach goes into it with that mentality, they're probably going to win the game, right? I would maybe like give them more credit if it was anyone but Zach LaRue that scored the goal, because I can't stand that kid. Most punchable face in the AHL, I swear to God. Moving on from that before I get myself in trouble. We'll move into the Friday game. At this game against the Chicago Wolves at home, you look at the loss, go, how do they respond, right? What are we expecting? And if you watch this game, but if you didn't, basically everything up until maybe 5 minutes left in the third was a real meh game. I mean, we'll say MBN's goal to start the game off, which has 3/4 of the way through the first period, a beauty. Like, John Leonard makes a great play behind the net, but it all starts at the Griffins' blue line with MBN forcing a turnover, somehow getting the puck out to spring John Leonard on a breakaway. Lenny can't convert. Puck goes behind the net. Angle makes a play, gets it to Leonard. Leonard finds MBN wide open in the slot, who does not miss from there, in an absolutely beautiful goal to get the Griffins a lead. But before the end of the first, Chicago responded, and it's a tie game. And I'm like, man, I feel like I just saw this movie Wednesday. And I was getting nervous because it just felt like what the Griffins were trying to do, it wasn't clicking. Chicago came with a great game plan. They've played us tough this season, too. They're one of the 3 teams that have beat us this season. And they played us the right way. And the funniest part about this is that the first 2 games against Chicago went to a shootout. We all know about the first game. Postava goes down with injury. Gylander comes in, goes to a shootout. They can't win. They get the redemption when they go back to Chicago. Gylander gets the shootout win. It's a beautiful thing. And we look at this game and, well, son of a gun, we're going to a shootout, because in the third period, Chicago added 1 more to take the lead. But Antti Tuomisto, with a wrist shot from the half wall that I didn't know he had in him, all of a sudden we have a tie game at least, and we can go to overtime and keep the point streak alive. But what a shot from 2-0 on this one.
It was a seeing eyeglass shot. Like, they just ripped it in that corner. Had the space. I mean, that's what you want from 2-0. Like, when I saw that, I was like, his shot accuracy has improved so much in the years that we've been covering him. Like, he used to let those go and it would be in the netting. Like, 5 aisles. If there wasn't netting, it was like 10 aisles up. Like, it was always just a spray shot. And now he's dialed it in. He's toned it down. Like, he's got it. The accuracy is there. He's really making a case. Like, I feel now of being able to take that next step. Right. Like, and that's what we wanted from him last year. And maybe it took another year between him and Wally to really improve and to learn from these veterans and get those spots. Like, he's just picking his spots so well.
He really is. I mean, that's 206 goal of the season. But I look at where the shot came from. That half wall on the right side of the ice, if you're looking at the Chicago net, he's on the right side of the ice. That puck went in over the or the right shoulder of the goalie, so top left corner of the goal. Like, how did you label that to that? Like, that was so perfect. And it was, again, a game where it just felt like nothing was going right for Grand Rapids. The bounces weren't going right. The passes weren't going right. There was, I don't know how many times guys whiffed on shots. I don't know how many times I jokingly said in the press box, oh, swing and a miss. Like, and one of the stats guys jokingly said, oh, we signed Javi? God, like, that's what it looked like. It was rough, man. But you go to overtime,
The one thing, though, at this point, though, Brandon, is there was 49 shots to our side. Like, we were not playing very well. We're giving up everything. And then you did the chaos for that third period is what really started a lot of this as well.
Yeah.
The Dominik shine.
Okay, settle down. Let me get there.
You jumped to overtime. I'm like, go back to the third period. This is where it all started. This was the whole game.
We'll go back to the third period because I know exactly what point in the game you're talking about. You got about 3 to 4 minutes left, and everyone thinks the Dom Shine play I'm going to talk about in a minute is what really kicked it off, but nobody noticed Edward's Tralmaks throwing a massive hit along the boards in the Griffins zone about 4 minutes in, and like, Eddie was having a rough night. Like, he was one of the guys that was swinging and missing all night. He throws a bone-crushing hit. The Chicago player looked like he was knocked into next week, but he was able to skate off the ice, obviously, and play resumed on. But I was like, something just happened with that hit there, and momentum shifted. Then you get into a play about minute 20, minute 30 left in the third, and Bradley Dedeaux, which we talked about him before, pretty high caliber player in the Carolina Hurricanes organization at this point, great prospect. He makes a play, Cossa makes the stop, play freezes. He gives Shine an extra push. Terrible idea. Shine stands up in all on right hand fist straight to the face with the glove on. Nadeau goes down. Shine gets a couple more in while he's down. And at this point, the arena erupted. 8,890 fans on this Friday night, and it sounded like a dang playoff game out of nowhere. Like, that was the intensity. We were talking about it in the press box. We're like, man, there's so many people here, but it's quiet tonight. Like, it's quiet. The fans aren't in it. They were in at that point. It was rocking. My Apple Watch went off saying it was too loud in the dang building. Like, and that's rare in the press box. It's a lot quieter up there than it is in the seats. So if my watch is going off up there, that place was rocking. The game gets sent to overtime after all that. Yes, Shine took a penalty. He was the only one that got a penalty in that mix. You go into overtime on the PK. They kill it off. Chicago gets 4 shots in overtime. The Griffins get none. And at this point, like you said, Nick, the Wolves had 49 shots on goal at the end of this, heading into a shootout. Sebastian Cossa had himself a night, and we're going to talk about him in a second.
They killed off 2 penalties in overtime. 2. So they're already shorthanded, and Cossa just kept this game that close to be able to give them a chance to win. Like, if anything, like we talked last week, like I just saw the reel today, that is this a goalie or a defensive system? And then Cossa goes out and falls like that. And you're like, all right, like he
heard us and he said, "Shut up, guys. It's not just the defense; it's me too." And that I'm glad you brought up that second penalty in OT because I'm trying to avoid the ref rant. Right, I'm trying to be better, guys. Rakowski going in and gets forced into the goalie, and the goalie sells that goalie interference like he tried to win an Oscar. But that was BS all over, and I'm so glad the Griffins could kill that off.
The refs were bad this game.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We're going to talk about it.
And even like 2-0's goal, there was a controversial icing call that should have been called that went our way, and we ended up scoring off of it. So like, I wondered
what happened with that because the Wolves captain was losing his mind at center ice, and I'm shocked he didn't get a penalty because he made contact with the official during that conversation.
It gets crazier when we go to the shootout. There was something that shouldn't have happened, I think.
But
we'll continue. Yeah,
before we even get to the shootout, though, because this is all over the place, but this game was all over the place, too. I'm not going to lie. The adrenaline was pumping in the press box. I'm sitting there trying to clip, and I'm like, I'm shaking. This game is intense. This is awesome. The whistle blows at the end, and all of a sudden I look, and Erik Gustafsson's gloves are off. I'm like, what is going on here? He gets called for instigating fighting and a game misconduct for the instigator at the end of the overtime period, whatever. I went back and watched the replay the next morning because I'm like, why did Gus's wires cross? We've been talking about this for a while too. Like, his intensity level continues to rise, and he's ready to kill someone out there. The Chicago player that he went after took his stick up into his midsection and flipped Gus. I thought Gus was going for like a Superman punch, But no, the Chicago player basically speared him almost. And yeah, if that's what happens, that's the right response. If I'm Gustafson, go after the dude and beat the crap out of him. Refs didn't let it go. I wanted to see Gus actually throw those fists. I think he might have won that fight big time. But there was, again, on the officiating, so much that was missed in this game. It's insane.
Well, so I watched the replay back today like twice because I was like, what happened here? And then you see him kind of like go in a weird way, and then you see the trip or being speared. And so he gets an instigator, and then they throw him in the box. I'm like, why? There's no time left. We're going to a shootout. So why is he in the box? But who did he fight? I forget.
I don't know because he didn't get a penalty. I can't remember. He got 0 penalties out of this.
No, he had
on the score sheet in front of me. There's no penalties on a Wolves player after the second period.
That's weird because there's a 5-minute fighting for Eric Gustafson, so there had to have been somebody off. So the guy that he was fighting during the announcement, they said that he was supposed to have a penalty as well, like he had penalty minutes as well, but then he goes out for the shootout. And they're like, how does this happen? If he is in the box or should be in the box, how is he? And this was the Wolves announcers. This wasn't Bob and Larry. This was the Wolves announcers. So it was very, unbiased on that aspect.
I can tell you how.
How?
It's because the NHL, like North American shootout rules, if you're in the penalty box, you can still shoot. In a double IHF event, if you're in the penalty box or you have a penalty, you cannot participate in the shootout.
So he was announced in the arena, called for a penalty.
But in North America, he can participate in the shootout. In double IHF, like in the Olympics, if this happened, he wouldn't be able to participate in the shootout.
I mean, that's fair, but he's also now not on the penalty sheet on the score sheet.
Well, I get that, but I'm just telling you why in like a rules aspect.
That's good because we saw some crazy stuff in the World Juniors this weekend with penalty shots. So I'm glad you do that, Trav.
Let's get to the shootout because I think this is what everyone that's tuned into this episode wants us to talk about. You go out there, John Leonard shoots first, and there's a little bit of shenanigans happening in front of the Wolves net. Miftakov, the Wolves goalie, putting snow in the high slot. Just scooping all the snow out of his crease right into the high slot. The refs did notice it, had a conversation with him. They cleared the low slot with their skate, not the high slot. And Leonard sees it all happen. He's watching this happen. He's at center ice for probably 30, 40 seconds before he's finally allowed to shoot. Skates in, labels one on Miftakov. And what's he do after he scores? Turns and looks at that goalie and gives him a big old, I'm sure, FU verbally towards the goalie. Can't confirm nor deny that's what was said. But oh my God, was that arena electric after that goal.
They didn't show any of that snow, like any of that happening on the broadcast.
No, it's not on the broadcast at all.
They didn't show Leonard like with that reaction either. So I'm glad you were there to be able to see that. And
they showed it.
Oh, you can see Leonard. You see the head movement as he's saying something.
You see it.
Oh, yeah.
I texted in the group
message.
I texted you guys in the group message. I was like, I think he just said F you to the goaltender.
He most certainly probably did.
That's
Bradley Nadeau up next for the Wolves. Cossa, big save. Beautiful save. MBN goes out there. Can't convert. Don't really know what he was trying to do with the puck.
Shootout guy. Can we talk about this quick?
Yeah, he's not a shootout guy because he tries to play. Like, dude's got an unreal release and a shot. He needs to stop playing with the puck and just shoot it.
Yeah, like quit trying to be cute and go down there and do what you're good at, and that's shooting the puck. I mean, Christ, take notes from the third guy we're going to talk about.
Well, hold on. You got Noah Gunler going the other way, and Cossa, again, big save. At this point, he's got 51 saves if you count the shootout saves. Unreal. Dominic Shine, the guy that caused the chaos at the end of the third period, hits the ice. And you kind of knew right away something cool was about to happen. Shiner skates in with a little bit of speed. Looks like he almost loses the puck, but he's just flattening it out, balances it out. Full wind-up slap shot. We have a goal. We have a Griffins win. And oh my God, that arena erupted. The pop from that crowd was unlike I've ever heard before. The only way to compare like the energy in that building was the Milwaukee forcing Game 5 in the playoffs where Bergie almost had a hattie. That's the energy that was in that arena on a random Friday night in January in Grand Rapids. Oh my God. Unreal.
Absolute sicko. Rockstar shit. Like, I'm just going to say it. I'm not even going to bleep it. When I saw that, like, I was having such a terrible day. And then I was like watching this. I was just kind of being a pissy pants, and I see this, I died laughing. I was just like, Dom Shine, there you go. Like, and the celly, the shot, the full antics all the way up through it, like just amazing. And I felt so bad though, because I know post game, like they ask you 5 minutes before the third, like 5 minutes in, like left in the third period, and you don't have a chance because none of that happened. Like him punching Nadeau, him going to the shootout, like you don't get a chance to talk on any of that or ask him any of that until like maybe the next day, but they're on the road. So maybe like today at practice, we could have asked him or something like that. But I'm like, what a moment, like to bounce back from the night before with Milwaukee to go into this, have this time to talk about it, because that was just absolutely amazing. Like, and that post blew up like all day long on our socials. It was just, I'm just like, every time I looked at it, it was like 40 new follows. I was like, what is going on here?
As it should, because it was, like you said, Rockstar shit. And as a player we know in Toledo, made sure to comment on the Instagram post of it, Rockstar shit, instantly after it happened. Good old Brandon Hawkins chiming in there. Because it was, dude, like, you're the captain of this team. Coach said in postgame, as soon as I said Shiner was going third, the whole bench knew. They were all excited. Everybody knew something cool was about to happen. I just didn't know it'd be that freaking cool. And I'm going to be chasing the feeling that game left me with for a while. That was just unreal. What a performance. And in a game where it felt like nothing was going right, for that to be the ending story, for the captain to go just full on slap shot in the shootout, unfrickin' believable.
And something I learned on this game too is this was Domshine's first time against Chicago this season. So to throw it back to the Milwaukee, first time against Zach LaRue, however you want to pronounce his name, gets the game-winning goal against us, and then you get Domshine goes out and gets the game-winning goal against Chicago the next night. It's kind of like a hero versus villain theme this weekend, I thought.
Yeah, we got the way cooler goal out of it, I will say that. LaRue's was way too easy. Shiner's was just a freaking blast. Oh, my God. Yeah,
I'll say
that
this, when he came flying up to center to pick the puck, I was like, uh-oh. I was like, and you could tell, like, I was like, because I'd seen the post on Twitter, because I told Brandon earlier, Nick, like, I turned the game on when the shenanigans was happening with the snow. Like, that's when I turned the game on. So, like, I didn't know exactly how this was going on, but I happened to see the shine where he, like, gets up and, like, goes and just causes violence behind the net. Like, I seen that on Twitter. And then I seen him come flying up to the puck at center in the shootout. And I was like, something's about to go down. Like, I was like, he might full on just, like, because I was like, he is moving. I was like, he is not Deacon. He's about to shoot this thing. And when he started winding up, I just got a big old grin on my face. And when he let that thing go and it went in, I just started laughing hysterically, because, like, it reminded me of Hossa. Marian Hossa used to do this in the shootout. He'd go way to the right because he was left-handed, and he'd get to the hash marks and just absolutely unleash one. Like, I forgot to say it to him the other day, but after Hawk commented on it, next time I see him, I'm be like, next home game, if you don't absolutely pull out a full-on piss missile from the hash marks, I swear to God, I'm gonna lose it.
Rewatching the game today, I noticed something, though, is Nadeau did this in the second period, and Cossa saved it. He did the exact same, and I'm like, I wonder if Shine was just like, he kind of sucker punches him in the third, and then goes out in the shootout and goes, I'm just going to do the same thing he just did to us, and just kind of like tit for tat kind of thing. Like, I wonder if that was in the back of his mind of the way he was setting it up, or if it was more of like the whole snow thing with the goalie, because just to have the cherry on top of all of it was just fantastic. So,
I mean, the way the shenanigans were going, there's no doubt in my mind that there was something like that in the back of his mind. And, like, sucker punching isn't always a good thing to do, but Nadeau giving him the extra shove when there was nothing else happening, like, you kind of asked for it, kid. Like, it's a welcome to the pros, welcome to the league. You're going to get one. And it was courtesy of our captain, who just got the whole bench right into this game. And, like, the play from the Griffins, even on the PK and in OT, rough, heavy, tough play where they just kept going and rolling. And I'm like, this was what we were missing for about three quarters of this game. And here it is all at the end where it matters the most. It's incredible.
The Wolves in this game too, they put the stat up. They were 0 for 28 in the power play. You remember these days, Brandon? Last year we were like 0 at 30.
Oh,
so like
they were 0 for 6 in this game.
Yeah, like we stepped up huge. Like now our special teams was not great this week with the 3 games, but 0 for 28, and they had their chances. 0 for 6, like, and even Shine at the end there, like he was smart. He didn't close his hand on that puck in that situation with the chaos, and that's what saved him. Because if not, this would have been a whole different game, I feel.
Yeah, this game had, like, for the most of it, again, not much happened. And then at the end, it had everything. This game had everything that you could want in a crazy bounce back game after your third loss of the season. And I want to talk about the refs, but I'm actually going to hit an ad break because we're well into this episode. We'll hit an ad break when we come back. I'm going to speak on officiating. We'll talk about the game on Saturday, our 3 stars of the week, and of course, an AHL standings update.
Spinoramas, Michigan goals, a sprawling save across the crease. Live and breathe all the highlight moments with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-9777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see tkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025. All rights reserved.
And welcome back. All right. Before we dive into the Saturday game, the last game of the week, we do have to talk about the officiating on Friday night. And if you've listened to the show for a long time, you know I'm pretty crucial and critical against some of the officials in this league. No, right?
Yeah. First season was that was a full half-hour episode. Was the refs?
I knew refs by name on the show. Grady Hamilton is still ingrained in my name. Look, I understand it's a tough job, but you got to at least try to do the job. And if you're not going to do the job, don't do it just calling the game one way. If you can only watch one team, if you're colorblind and can only see their maroon jerseys, I get it. Don't call it one-sided. You got to call it evenly or just don't call it at all, right? Let the guys police it, whatever. Dude, the officiating was so bad Friday night that not just myself going, what is going on? Not just Bob Kaiser, also who likes to throw fits about the referees broadcasts. That's why Bob and I just get along so well. We can't stand terrible officiating. Every single post-game interview had their own way of mentioning the referees in this game, which is very rare from this organization. They are very, cut and dry about not talking about the officials in these. Cossa mentioned it, Siegs mentioned it, and Dan Watson made sure to mention it in the politest way possible by, mentioning not that they were just battling one team, they were battling 2 teams that night, and I immediately knew what he was talking about. But Waddy was frustrated, not just by how animated he was on the bench, which that might be the most animated I've ever seen Coach Watson on the bench. That was a lot, and rightfully so. Waddy went out of the way to point out that the officials in Saturday's game were the same ones from their game that night. I can't pull injuries or who's going to start in net out of that guy the next night, but he made sure to tell us who the officials were going to be the next night. And that's where I kind of went back in my head and went, yeah, they were bad. We said before, Chicago had 6 freaking power play opportunities, the Griffins 2 in this game. There was stuff getting let go by Chicago all night long. Did the Griffins get away with a few things here and there in this game too? Yes, they did. But some of the stuff with Chicago that was called on Grand Rapids, what? Hillebrand's holding the stick penalty. I was like, he's holding his own hockey stick. He gets paid to do that. He's not holding the other guys. It's just wedged between the guys, and he's holding on to his own. And yes, I zoomed into replay to make sure I wasn't crazy after I said that because I wanted to make sure I was correct. I already mentioned Raklovsky going into the goaltender in overtime. That's a joke. The whole Shine situation, should the Wolves have gotten a power play out of that? Yes, but should somebody else have been called? 100%. The Gus situation, that is even more confusing after Nick saying that, it was called and the guy was in the shootout and now it's not on the score sheet. There's got to be some clarity from the AHL. They've got to do better, especially in games like this. You can't just half-ass police the game, and you can't call it completely one-sided. If both teams walked away with 3 power plays in this game, but stuff got let go all night, I'd probably be like, yeah, refs weren't doing much, but hey, it was at least even. In the timeliness of the Griffins penalties too, it felt like the refs were sick of the words coming out of our team's mouth, and they were just like, anything we did, they were going to call. It felt like it was some retaliatory calls, and that's not okay. You can't let emotions as an official get the best of you and call it. And I'm not saying for sure that's what he did. That's just my perspective on the situation. But again, if a coach is going to go out of his way to point out that it's the same officials the next night in Chicago, it was a badly officiated game. And Chicago's coach was screaming and crying just as much, probably more, especially on that icing. But anyway, that's the linesman's job, not the ref.
I think it's funny that he mentioned that like right away to you. Maybe he just knows like that warms your heart, right? Knowing the referee stuff and not the injury stuff, the the important things. Maybe he just did that to fill your cup there, Brandon.
It worked.
But it was like the Chicago Wolves coach was mad too, and they were yelling, and the players were mad. They were yelling as well, like throughout this entire game as well. I know we were a little bit more lopsided on the penalty, which is weird because we are one of the we're like 3rd least penalized team in the league. So it's just uncharacteristic. I don't know if it was just something, if it was if they just were that angry from the night before, right? From Milwaukee, and maybe a little bit of it carried over to this game. I don't know. It's at the end of the day, yeah, they have to be better. It's weird that they scheduled the same refs for back-to-back games.
Not the same linesmen, just the same refs.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. But I mean, I feel like maybe we've seen that before too, though.
I'm sure we have in this league, but
we just don't pay attention to it the last 2 years because they've been so well disciplined. And they're not really like, we're not getting the penalties piled up against us until it does happen. And then we're like, whoa. We've got away with it for so. No, I'm just kidding.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I look at the score sheet and I go, okay, Watson slashing call in the first, a joke. Rabikin, whatever his name is with the Wolves, his high sticking call, warranted. It was a true high stick. Wallender's high sticking call, definitely warranted. Probably almost could have been 4, but he didn't draw blood, thank God. Hillebrand's holding the stick. I already said that was a joke. Veerling's holding, clearly holding. MBN's tripping, a joke. Shine's roughing. Yup. He goal cocked the guy inside the head. Raklovsky's goal interference, a joke. Gus, yeah, call him for those things, but you got to call the other guy. You can't call for 5 for fighting on one guy if you didn't. What did he fight there?
It was Gundler. It was who was the guy that he was fighting. But even like the Wolves broadcasts are like, Dom Shai should have been kicked out of this game for his antics there at the end.
It depends on the situation, how you the punch. If Nadeau didn't give him that extra shot well after the whistle, yes. If Shine just turned around and did that, but Shine's not the type of player that would just turn around and do that for no reason. He got the extra shot, and we're talking a good 3 or 4 seconds after the whistle. The puck's been covered. There's no other shenanigans going on at all. And Nadeau just decides to give him a shot while he's half bent over still. Like, it's... Yeah.
They were not happy about it at all. They're like, disgusting. The captain, how undisciplined. Put your team into a bad spot. Oh, they were all out about it. So, and I knew, like, rewatching it, like, rewatching, knowing what already had happened, I was like, well, just wait, guys. Wait to see how this ends.
And then the opposite spectrum, you look at us, and I look at Elaine and go, can I post this without getting in trouble? And the only caption on that whole play was just, hell yeah, Shiner. She's like, yes, do it.
There's been worse things posted about Shine.
Well, he kind of did that to himself. Just didn't know a camera would point at him at that exact time. But it's been the greatest picture and GIF in the group chats for years and years to come, I'm sure.
So funny. He's the captain after that happened.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm surprised they didn't make special T-shirts for his 500th game with that picture on it.
They should have.
Shocked.
Should have.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
The team, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be his 600th game. Trust me. Good Lord. All right. Enough about refs. I won't get off too much of a tangent there. Let's move into Saturday's game. And after what we witnessed Friday night, you go into Saturday going, this is going to be a barn burner. This is going to be ridiculous. You look at the veteran scratches in the lineup and you see Shine and Gustafson are the scratches in this game. And immediately I go, this is going to be the most tame game I've ever watched from both teams. And sure enough, it was. Not a lot of antics, very little penalties called in this game. A lot of missed calls yet again by the same officiating crew, but we'll leave that alone for now. The Griffins walk away, though, with a nice, dominant 4-1 win. You had Edwards Tralmaks get the first goal of the game, parked right out front, cleans it up on the doorstep, gets the goal. Sheldon Dries gets his 11th of the season. Nice to see Drisey back in the lineup after being the veteran scratch the night before. Makes Chicago pay, gets the goal. Chicago responds, makes it a 1-goal game. Chad Hillebrand, right on the freaking doorstep again, almost like the first goal. Absolutely beautiful.
Chad Hillebrand this season, I know more about this guy than anybody else on the Griffins team. They were saying on the broadcast that he actually grew up a Chicago Wolves fan. His sister was the in-arena spokesperson, and he was at a PTO throughout the season, like before the season started, with Chicago. So for him to get the goal that he did, like he had family in the group, right, in the arena, good for him. And it was allowed, like after you could hear them still cheering for him after that. But then like we hear about last week, big bowl of spaghetti before the game, like.
Yeah, we do know more about Hilly than anyone else in the team, but I mean,
going on?
The guy's the goofiest guy in the team. I love this dude.
I love it.
And I love what he's brought to this team on that fourth line. We're going to talk about him more in a second. I want to dive into some of the guys, but the last goal of the game after that one, Wolves have the goalie pulled. Austin Watson makes his probably 6th shot block of the game and gets the puck and fires it the other way about 100 feet. And gets the empty netter. Griffins walk away with a 4-1 win. Michael Postava stopped 21 of 22. His first start back from his injury. I thought he looked solid. I think this was a great game to ease him in. The Griffins played their structure defensively in front of him to a T. Made his life pretty easy. He did have to make a couple big saves, but nothing that was earth-shattering or anything like that. But he looks comfortable. He looks healthy. It was great to see him back in the net.
Could you imagine if he had to play the night prior, 49 shots on his welcome back night? Like, what's going on, guys?
Yeah, dude. We didn't talk enough in that game about there being 49 shots on net in Sebastian Cossa's performance, but we're out of words to describe how incredible Sebastian Cossa is, so forgive us. When I look at this game, though, you look at the response from the night before, right? It's not a close game. It's not a 1-goal game. It's not a shootout. It's the first game against the Wolves this season that hasn't gone to a shootout. All 3 prior games went to a shootout. And yet they walk away with a nice 4-1 win, extend the point streak to 18 games. And again, getting scoring from everywhere. You got Drisey, top line, Tralmaks, third line, Hillebrand, fourth line. It's just so great to see the depth scoring can show up. Defensively, they played so well. And they come out with this big win after the chaos the night before where you're like, this game is going to be insane. Maybe everyone wore themselves out in that game emotionally. I don't know. You know, you look at this, and that was talked a lot about in post-game Friday night, was how are the emotions going to carry over? You know, Waddy's mentioned before, when the game gets emotional, that's where it can get out of hand for these guys and they might walk away with a loss. But even in the chaos the night before, the emotions were in check to an extent, looking at you, Shiner. But at the same time, like, they didn't let it affect their play. And they didn't come into this game emotional and try to just cause chaos and pick up where the night left off. They came in and played their game. And that's exactly what you would expect them to do. So credit to the team, credit to the boys. Caden Premu had a tough night in net for the Wolves. Don't really know what's going on with him. It's just one of those guys that you thought was going to be really good. NHL player, claimed on waivers, comes in, and he's not had the best season down there. So there we are. But when you look at like this week overall, and I mentioned I want to talk more about Hillebrand, and we talked a little bit about this in the Toledo show that you guys will hear later this week, but what he's brought to that fourth line has enabled Gabriel Seeger to be able to be moved up to that second line to go use his incredible face-off ability and his size and playmaking ability to try to produce on that second line. Adding Hillebrand on the fourth line just replaces his size, maybe with a little bit more grit than Seeger has. And it allows, you know, Bantle and him to just go out there and do their thing. And whoever's playing center that night, whether it be Doucette or Moyle, go out there and do their thing. Look, Doucette gets a point in this game, and he's been a guy that he's one of the few on this team that's missed games in coach's eyes due to performance. And you know, you might look at this and go, okay, if Moyle was healthy, would Deuce to even be playing these games. But at the same time, Hilly has really stabilized the fourth line even more than it already was. It was already the energy line. It was already the go out there and make them pay line. But Hilly's just brought a different aspect to it that's not always grinding, but it's the ability to just outplay and outsmart the other team.
This is a big piece that we talked about last year. Is like we had a team, right? And we had people playing above their role, or we had guys that are playing way up more than what they should. And this year, it seems like they really put together the right people in the right roles to have them be successful. And like, I don't know what it is. I think it's Sunday games. These fourth line guys just show out, right? It's like, it seems like every Sunday you get like the Ian Mitchell, or you get an AKL, you get an Austin Watson goal, you get a Hilly goal. You get some of those depth guys putting up points. It's good to see those guys going, because like AKL started hot and then he's kind of disappeared behind 2-0 or another defenseman, and now you see like Hilly gets a goal. See who else?
I mean, Tralmaks getting back on the goal sheet is huge. He had a little slump there, and like I said with Friday's game, he looked off. He hasn't looked like himself, but finding the back of the net there, you could instantly see the confidence boost come right back to him, and it's really good to see, because we need him scoring.
Hip like Rutkowski. That was the other guy that I was trying to think of too. Like he put up the assist out of the Tralmaks goal. So it was just like you get those guys, like they've been playing well. Not to discredit them, they've been playing well. They just haven't had the puck bounce. They haven't had the had the chances and the opportunities to bury it. So it's good to see them getting rewarded in this game. And we need that. We're going to need that going forward. Like the depth has to be there this season. And that's the biggest thing that all of these teams in the post game, when we played Milwaukee and when we play Chicago, they go, it's a long season. Who knows what Detroit's going to do? There's going to be call-ups. There's going to be and I'm like, who are they going to call? They already called up John Leonard. They've already called up everybody they could have called up, right? Who else? They're waiting. Everybody's waiting for us downward spiral to happen. And they're like, Milwaukee just lost 9 in a row. Like Chicago is right there. They built this game up this weekend. Number 1 versus number 2. Yeah, we're on a 20-point
18 game point streak. Yep.
No, we're 20 points ahead of the standings or something like that, right? Like, I'm like, there's
1 versus 2, but there's a 20-point gap. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like they mentioned too, Randy Cleves had said before the Christmas break, they could lose every game between then and Valentine's Day and they'd still be 500. Like this team, and it's because of the depth
of the day right there.
Like they're waiting, and they play so structured, they play so disciplined, they have so much depth that even when you start bringing guys up from Toledo because Detroit's pulling guys from us, like they're still rolling. And like last year, we didn't have that. We didn't have those depth guys, to kind of close the loop on it, not to get too sidetracked like I usually do. But we're seeing this now. Like that's what we've been calling for last year. And now we have the people in the right places in the right roles. And Hilly fills that role to be able to step in and do what he needs to do. And I love when they start that line out in the first period. Just puck drop. They're the fourth line. They're going at it. And typically, you think you put your first line out there to get the matchups, but I love seeing the energy line going out there. The Toledo line, I like.
Oh yeah, 100%. And you talked about a couple of guys there, and sorry, you got sidetracked like you said, but I want to go back. You brought up Rutkowski. Like he had a great December. He had 5 points in December. He's really standing out in his play. I want to look at the comparison here. He's played 31 games this season, and because of injury, he only played 38 last season. Last season, he had 8 points, 3 goals, 5 assists. This season, in 31 games, he has 12 points, 3 goals, and 9 assists. He's also, from last season, where he was a -1 on the season, he's a +11.
Jeez.
Well, it's hard to be a negative on a team that's lost 3 games
Correct.
in, 30?
Correct. But here's where it gets even crazier. You look at a guy like Andre Becker, 59 games last season, 10 goals, 10 assists. 26 games this season, 1 goal, 13 assists. So he's 6 points off of his total from last season. He was a -15 last season, and he's a +5 this season. That's great growth in those two players.
I want to say too is this first game against Chicago this week, they moved Becker up with Leonard and Shine. He was centering that line. And so like you see that growth, you see him getting rewarded for it too. And they've been pushing him up the line when we've had those injuries, and he's performed, right? Like he doesn't look out of place. He doesn't look lost like we've seen before when they bring players out and they're like in these roles. It's like, this just, it doesn't gel. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. So yeah, I'm glad you brought up Becker because that was another guy that I was thinking on too. Like 3rd round pick, like he's a lesser known prospect, but he's getting the development. He doesn't have the pressure on everybody and he's performing. Like what more can you ask for? And those two guys, they took their lumps last year. They were injured for a good portion, and it's good to see them healthy and performing.
Yeah, 100% is. Outside of that, no other thoughts on this 3-game set besides like, yeah, you lost one. You got a point in it though, and it's only your 3rd loss of the season. Who cares? You had the most electric win I've seen in Fanandel Arena in a long time Friday night, and then you came back with a nice dominant performance on Saturday on the road. It's exactly how you'd expect a team like this to respond to a loss, even it being an overtime loss. This is exactly what you would expect from this team. Goaltending's incredible. Defense looks great. We're getting scoring from all over. You can't be happier than with this than what you are right now. Like it's really, really good to see. And I think the biggest takeaway for me is just, yes, New Year's Eve is always a packed game, but just seeing it carry forward. We're starting to see that arena fill up more and more. And every Friday night, $2 beer night that I'm there, and I don't see the crowd thin out after they stop selling $2 beer, it just warms my heart. Because the fans are here, they're dialed in, they actually care. And when good stuff's happening and the craziness happens, boy, do they get bought in and that place gets rocking again. Van Andel Arena is becoming a really, really fun place to watch hockey again. You just want the fans, when they're there in that much of a force, you want them into it through the whole game, not just when punches are being thrown to Bradley Nadeau's face. But hey, I got excited when that happened too. Sorry. Moving on from that, our 3 stars of the week. And this is interesting because normally I pre-type these out before we do the show, and I didn't this week. I kind of want to get the boys' input for once instead of just me picking them.
I didn't create any. The one time I did.
I know, the one time I throw Nick for the loop. Who's the 3rd star of the week, boys?
Don't ask me.
Well, Travis, no, you're, and for you, the windshield of your plow truck's the star of the week. Like
facts.
Look, I mean, you could go a couple different ways about this, right? You could look at points and everything. I'm going to go with MBN as the 3rd star of the week. Goal and an assist this week. A really meaningful goal on Friday night to kick things off. And again, his play off the puck, his ability just to hit everything that moves and cause chaos. I think MBN is the rightful 3rd star this week.
The only other guy I could think of is maybe Willie Wally.
I mean, yeah, you could go Wally there. So the 1 point over the week, unless you're bumping MBN to 2nd star. Is that what you're doing?
No, just tied for 3rd. Maybe honorable mention. Maybe honorable mention because I do like how MBN's been playing, and he was on a crazy point streak too.
Yeah, it was a 6-game point streak up until Saturday's game. He didn't have a point in, but it's a heck of a streak there for him. And you do have to mention Volander. Look, this is a guy that I think we're pretty critical on because you expect a lot with this player. This is a guy that's put together really good 5 or 6 past games. He's looked really good offensively and defensively. And the other thing to note is that he's out muscling guys off the puck. He's using his size and his strength in the corners and battling and winning battles. It's everything you want to see from him. I just hope we can see it for more than 5 or 6 games. I'd like to see it the rest of the season.
Yeah, string them together. I don't want to get critical on him.
Yeah, whether it's made cuts of episodes or made posts online, it's the holding the puck at the blue line thing is still a thing. But hey, everything else he's doing right now, he's doing right, and I can appreciate that very much. 2nd star of the week, I was going to give it to Sebastian Cossa.
Yeah. I know where you're going with number 1. So yeah, I'll give it to Cossa.
Yeah, you got to give it to Cossa in this one. The amount of saves he had, the 49 save game alone, or not 49 saves, but 49 shots against, 47 saves. Just an absolutely unreal game. And I know we didn't talk about it a lot in that game because there was so much happening, but you got to understand the types of saves Cossa was making in this game. He was excellent. Like the way I looked at Coach and was like, you needed your goalie to be excellent tonight to win this game. And he was, and his eyes lit up. I mean, he's like, yeah, this kid was great in this game. I mean, yes, he lost on Wednesday. Big whoop. It went to overtime. Well, you stop 47 shots in a game. Yeah, you're getting a star of the week. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Technically, he saved 49 because he had 2 in the shootout. But those were high. A lot of those were high danger shots against Nadeau. And Nadeau was on a huge point streak coming into this game, and he is a high pick for Carolina. So I mean, he played fantastic. Like just so good. It's so hard to continue to to give him his praises because we talk about it every week. But just fantastic. Best game I've seen from Cossa.
Oh, easily one of the best games I've seen from him. Insane. And the first star of the week, as Nick saw where I was going with this, it's Dominik Shine. How is it not? Yes, it's just one goal. Yes, I know John Leonard had a 3-point week again. We've given this first star to him so many times this season. His flowers were getting called back up to the NHL. Dominik Shine gets the dang first star, not just for the goal, not just for the antics, just being a leader on this team. The true lifeblood of the Griffins, Dominik Shine. So heck yeah, Mr. Rockstar over there gets the first star of the week. Just unreal. And that's he only played 2 of the 3 games, and it's all based on basically the last 5 minutes of a game and a shootout. But heck yeah, when you do stuff like that to drag your team to a win, you get the first star.
That's your guy. That's your guy to go drag yourselves into battle, like Travis has been saying all season for the Wings. Somebody needs them. So yeah, I was like, I was waiting for you to say Leonard for the second one, and Cossa for first, and then I was like, oh wait, I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, I mean, we've given Lenny so many damn flowers on this show, and they're rightfully deserved. This guy, look, he came back from the NHL, saw that he wasn't leading the league in goals anymore, was like, I'm going to score another one. Like, he's still second now. He's down by 1. He's got his 20th of the season. Arthur Kaliev in Belleville has 21, but dude. Like, you've only played 23 games. You have 20 goals, 12 assists. You have 32 points in 23 games. You're insane. It's unreal, the season that John Leonard is having. And to see this call up to the NHL and the opportunities that he's had, when you look at the past NHL experience and you go, yeah, it didn't go great for him. And you see this happening in this organization now, you just kind of sit there and it's one of those things that makes guys go, hell yeah. Like, it really is.
I just feel bad because he was like on a good rotation of like sitting out every 3 games, and now he's been playing nonstop with the Wings and then like the travel and then coming back to GR. So he's kind of on that Bergie streak that Bergie was on. Was it 2 years ago, where he played like 12 games?
Yeah.
And, so.
Well, it's just this veteran rotation makes things so funny because people I kept hearing people go, oh, is Gus going to get suspended for the antics in overtime? Oh, is Shine going to get suspended for the punch? Do it. Like, they're going to sit the next game. Who cares? It's like when Watson got suspended after the game against Iowa. Darn, it was his game to sit the next night anyways. Who cares? The most pointless suspension. If you suspend one of our vets for 1 game right now, it's the most pointless suspension in the entire American Hockey League. So, yeah, they've got a little bit more leeway to go out there and do some funny and dumb shit. Well.
Don't do it
But
too
man,
much.
to the fans, enjoy it. All right. Let's wrap this episode up with a quick standings update around the American League. Obviously, when you look at it from a league perspective, the Griffins are still leading the league with a winning percentage of .935 through 31 games. It's just unreal. Unreal stuff. The rest of the Central Division, as we talked about already, Chicago's in second place. Griffins at 58 points, Chicago at 36, if that gives you any perspective on what the division looks like right now. Manitoba in third place, 2 points behind the Wolves. You got Milwaukee in fourth place. Texas, Rockford has fallen to 6th in the division, and Iowa rounding out the rest of the division there. Rockford, the shock of the season.
That's weird. It's very weird.
I mean, call-ups and a lot of stuff happening in that organization, but it's... You just didn't anticipate it with the way the Blackhawks were set up. You didn't think. You'd kind of think they'd be doing what we're doing right now. And nobody thought we'd be doing what we're doing. Head over to the Pacific. Colorado still leading that division with Ontario and San Jose in third, and Abbotsford still in last place in that division, 4-3-2-1 in their last 10. Go to the north, Laval still leading that division. Syracuse and Toronto make up the top 3, with Utica still in last place in that division, 4-4-1 in their last 10. Cleveland's moved to 5th in that one, if you cared. Heading to the
I think
Atlantic.
only one person would care.
Yeah. Move to the Atlantic. Wilkes-Barre at the top of that division there. Providence and Lehigh Valley make up the top 3, and Bridgeport in third, or in the last place in the division.
I have a feeling Wilkes-Barre is going to be falling here shortly. They are on a little bit of a skid. There's been some call-ups to the Pittsburgh organization, and then the Flyers just traded that guy to them, and he did report. So they are hurting for players. They're hurting for people. So it'll be interesting to see if they can stay at the top. I know they're currently tied with Providence, so it'll be interesting to see. And then the only last note that I have for on this too is the Colorado Eagles coach just got punched his ticket to the All-Star game 2 days ago. So
Mark Latest,
Yeah. Finally
Yep.
got that one punched. I don't in the East is still undecided.
What do you mean the other divisions? Remember,
Well, the other
it's
divisions, yeah.
yeah.
I think you'll
Yeah,
win
they're
all
still
of the East.
undecided. It should be within the next few days here that the rest of the coaches get decided. Wilkes-Barre is going to be interesting to watch. We just talked about this on the Toledo show, so when you tune into that, you'll hear more on this. But Wheeling has their last 10 hasn't looked great. Wilkes-Barre last 10 4-4 0-2. It's some weird stuff happening with the trades happening in that organization. And look, this is the perspective from us covering these leagues. It sucks when you see a really good team kind of get picked apart in these situations and then start to fall like that. It could happen any day in Grand Rapids. Like there's guys here that could be traded. There's a lot of vets here. You just appreciate what you have while you have it in this league and hope that it can sustain long enough to get you into the playoffs, right? I know the ECHL is the ever-changing hockey league, but this league changes just as much as well. And Wilkes-Barre kind of having that fall off like that, it does suck because, man, they were off to a amazing start, just like the Griffins were. And Providence hasn't shown any sight of slowing down, so they'll probably overtake Wilkes-Barre in the division by the time we record next week, I would assume, because they're 7-1-2 in their past 10. But nobody's got a winning percentage like the Griffins. 0.935. Your next closest is Providence in Colorado at 0.783. Just the separation there is insane.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Like Trav, I know you watch more hockey than the three of us on this show combined, including yourself. You watch more than yourself. Yeah, I know what I said there. I'm losing it. We've been recording so long today. Have you seen anything like this before?
No. I mean,
Colorado this year.
Yeah, but they have almost 10 overtime losses too.
They just got their third loss just the other day.
Third regulation loss.
Yeah. I understand that, but they still have almost 13 total losses. I get the regulation thing. That's one thing, but
that's crazy.
It is crazy.
They got 7 overtime losses and 3 regulation losses.
So they've lost 10 games.
Yeah.
And their goal differential's out of the world too.
165 to 93.
I mean, they're really good. The only other thing I can think of, do you remember the lockout year? I believe it was 2012, 13, somewhere in there. The Blackhawks started out 20-0-1 or 20-0-3. Do you remember? Does anybody remember this?
I do remember that, actually.
That's the only other real long one that I can think of. I wonder if I can find it quick.
It's funny that you mentioned that goal differential, Nick, because the Griffins are catching the Avalanche.
Yeah,
the Avalanche is plus 72. The Griffins are plus 67. God, plus 67 goal differential in a .9 plus winning percentage, in goaltenders having save percentages that are just out of this world. When you look at the league overall, it's you got a save percentage of .938 for Sebastian Cossa with a 1.67 goals against.
So I got it. 2012-13. They started out 21-0-3. The Blackhawks did that year.
We still had a better start.
So not as good as us.
That's insane. That's insane when you put this together and realize what you're witnessing. Because I think it was with Friday's win, the Griffins officially locked in the best start over 30 games in AHL history, in which 90-year history you're talking here, and the best start. We've had the best start through 20, 25, and 30 games now out of any team in the history of this league.
Brandon, you're from Grand Rapids. What does it mean to you? Because this has been your childhood team. This has been your bread and butter. As a fan and now we're reporting on it, right? But it's we've talked about buzz to the city, and it's gotta hit something for you.
It does, man. This is it's really hard to be media during this time because you want to be down there celebrating with the fans and just taking this all in, but yeah, this is special, and I don't lose sight that this is something that is special. It's it's meant a lot to me, honestly, just because not only what it's doing for the team, right? The team is having a blast. Fans are having fun watching it, and there's no doubt in my mind that this show that we do now wouldn't be where it is without this team doing what it's doing this season. There's people tuning in because of this team taking off and doing this. It's not just your pretty face, Nick, I promise. That is a big bonus, though, for a lot of people. But no, man, this is really special. You've seen some special teams roll through Grand Rapids, and we've seen some crazy things happen. You've seen 2 championships. The vibe of this team and the players and everything, it just feels different. And, the old saying goes yeah, you could win the league, but you don't make it far in the playoffs. I don't feel that with this team at all, man. The way they respond and the way that they play and the way that the leaders lead, it sets such a good example for young players in this area to watch these teams play. Maybe not, punching in the face and wind up slap shots in OT, but at the same time, maybe that is the right example in certain cases. It's just knowing what this team does for the community. And the more I've gotten to talk to people this season, and the more we've talked to even former players and hearing about the things that you don't hear about in the news, because this team does it just kind of off the record and just kind of does their own thing in the communities, not even in their own cities, and in other cities, like we've heard in an interview that we're going to be dropping here very, very soon. It's unreal. It's hard to keep the emotions in check when you're watching this team play from my perspective. And I know there's fans that have been season ticket holders forever. And there's people that have worked with this team forever that are watching this unfold. I mean, you look at Dog telling you that night, it's only the third loss. Relax. The guy's been here since the start. And if there's anyone that knows what this feels like more, it's going to be him. And he knows. He knows there's something special cooking. It's really cool.
So here's my question. You talk about how special this team is, right? And you've mentioned the All-Star game. How many All-Stars are going?
I already said, man, it's the Griffins will have the Central Division roster to themselves, except for maybe Bradley Dedeaux, which is going to be really awkward when Dominik Shine is an all-star and so is Bradley Dedeaux. They might have to sit down and hash that one out. But every team has to have somebody there to represent. Every team will be represented at the All-Star game. So,
Cossa's going.
Yep.
I would
Leonard
think they're going to be named to the team. Yeah, or two.
I would say if you base it on
how many roster size is it? Do you know? How many guys?
It's a 3-on-3 tournament. I think it's 6 or 9 players. I can't remember, not including the goalie. I think it's 6 or 9 skaters. Usually a couple defensemen and some forwards.
Like Eric Gustafson, potentially.
Eric Gustafson might be an AHL All-Star.
You know what I mean?
He's leading the team in plus minus right now.
Justin Hull won't be there.
No, I would say if you base it on points, Gus is still over a point per game player.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. You look at it. You could go down the list, man.
Do you think
Leonard probably would be named to the All-Star team?
Get 4?
I would say 4 is 3 to 4 is definitely
I'm thinking Cossa, Gus, Shine, and Leonard. If Leonard's not in Detroit,
I would say he'd still get named and then replaced by somebody,
probably.
whether that be from our team or another organization. I could see them naming 4 All-Stars from the team. Yeah, that would make sense.
Something you were sitting here, you brought up the All-Star game, and I was like, I wonder how many guys they could get.
MBN?
MBN's a possibility. You look at Chicago, they've got Nadeau and Robidoux could probably go.
Yeah.
You look at I got to get this all to load properly at the same time here.
Sorry, I threw you a major curveball.
No. Manitoba's got a guy, maybe. David Gustafson could probably go. Iowa's going to have a guy. That'll probably be Jerry Mayhew or David Spacek. Or, probably between those two. Probably Spacek because he's a defenseman. Milwaukee, God. Ufko's going. He's got 30 points in 31 games this season. He's going to be at the All-Star game. That's another defenseman right there. In Texas, Cameron Hughes probably goes. And the defensive side, Tristan Bertucci has an argument, but not by much. That's not even talking about the goalies. So it's going to be interesting to see who gets named. It'd be interesting with the Griffins position because it's a lot of veterans going in that case. It's a lot of veteran guys that are at the top of the list right now. It wouldn't be a lot of prospects going, which is usually what you see in these All-Star games. Somebody have to sit. Yeah, they'll be over the vet limit. Good one. Good Lord. All right. Before more curveballs get thrown at me, and we're an hour and 46 into the recording of this, which it won't be a true hour and 46. We know that because Patreon. And if you're not subscribed to Patreon, head over to patreon.com/Hockeytown West Podcast to join the lovely patrons that are already there. And those folks are, I threw Nick the curveball and went before the ad break. Or the ads.
I was there and then I forgot. We've got Zach, Darren Swartz, Peter Grell, Joe Schroeder, Bryson DeChambeau is elite, Tyler Eagles, John in Florida, Elaine Grace, Griffin, not from GR, Derek Sleazer, Lori and Alan Foch, and Michael Elsante.
Thank you all for the love and support as always. And of course, we got to thank our sponsors of the show too, DraftKings and Everything Hockey Clothing Company. When you're betting with DraftKings, use code THPN. And when you're shopping at everythinghockey.com, you use code WEST to save a few bucks off your order. And it also directly supports the show. So we appreciate that. All right. I've talked enough for the week. I'm going to be silent the rest of the week. Haha, that's funny. Everyone knows that's not true. But everybody have a fantastic week. You got 2 Griffins games upcoming. You've got the Texas Stars in town this week on Wednesday and Friday. And the Griffins have Saturday, Sunday off this week. One of those rare situations. Very nice to see. Very nice for us to get to enjoy a weekend, except for Travis. He's got, I think, probably 3 games in Toledo to cover. And he'll have fun with that. But until we talk again, everyone, as always, go Griffins, go Walleye.
Love you. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hockeytown West podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at HockeytownWPod and your hosts, Nick at GR Hockey Guy, Brandon at Brandon GR Hockey, and Travis at Trav in T-Town.